A Toronto man and his family have filed a lawsuit after the man's wife and young son both died just one day after arriving at a resort in the Dominican Republic. The father is speaking out publicly for the first time about the tragedy to prevent others from going through what he did. CTV's Vennavally-Rao spoke to him and has the story.
We took this, I think, the day before we left.
Steve Goujon showed us the last picture taken of his family before they headed off on a much-anticipated holiday to a resort in the Dominican Republic, a trip that quickly ended in an unimaginable tragedy.
I think people need to be aware of what can happen.
Upon arriving at the resort in the evening, the Goujon family went to the buffet. Early the next morning, all four of them became violently ill.
We were all throwing up.
Goujon says he called the medical clinic at the resort, but says he was told no one could come to their room and that the family had to get themselves to the clinic.
I explained the severity of our symptoms and the inability of any of us to make it to the medical center. And when I say severity, like, we couldn't even make it to the bathroom.
Goujon says he called again in the afternoon and pleaded for help, at which point he says the resort did respond, but says by then the family had to be transported by wheelchairs to the resort's medical center. They were then taken by ambulance to a local hospital, where Mom April and son Oliver took a turn for the worse.
They degraded in terms of their health, and then my son passed away, and then very shortly after, my wife passed away.
Goujon waited until the next morning to tell his 7-year-old son Wesley that both his mom and brother had died.
And it's the worst thing that a father and a husband will ever have to do.
A coroner's report determined the pair died from secondary causes related to food poisoning.
Coming home was very hard. Living life without them is extremely hard.
Now, a year later, Goujon has decided to speak out. He booked the trip through Air Transat Holidays. It, along with Wyndham Resorts and others, are named in a $10 million lawsuit filed on behalf of the Goujon family. The claim alleges the resort failed to follow proper hygiene protocols, have proper emergency protocols, and provide a timely response to the family's call for help.
I think that what the Goujon family would like is accountability. They'd like answers. They'd like somebody to take responsibility.
The company Transat says the hotel operator has assured us of its full cooperation with the authorities in shedding light on these tragic deaths. Transat Tours is also refuting the allegations made against it, none of which, Omar, have been tested in court.
Heartbreaking losses. John, thank you.